Hello and welcome to another next part of my Strong Women Along the Coast. And this lady that I have got my guest today, you possibly don't know her name, but you most certainly know the company that she is general manager and actually owner of. And that is SPECSAVERS in Marbella. And her name is NEREA GALDOS-LITTLE. And I've pulled it out because I want you to know her name, because we all know SPECSAVERS, but we don't know her name. So hello and welcome. Welcome to Strong Women Along the Coast. How are you?
Good morning, Sandy. I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I mean, to find another Strong Women Along the Coast is for me such a joy. Now, let's start at the beginning with you, pretty lady. You were born, well, you came from San Sebastian, right?
Correct, yes.
And then you didn't come straight to Marbella because you had a life before optics. You actually went to Sussex University. And what did you do there? Politics?
Politics and law, yes. I graduated.
And how come? What made you make that decision?
It was my passion since I was very little, and Sussex University actually was the best one in Europe for such a degree and master's degree. So that's how I ended up doing it. Yes, later on in life, I learned that law is very interesting, but politics is a different matter.
Absolutely. But then did you go into law and politics? Because I know that you've got another what can I call it? Another passion that you went into for a long time.
Yes. I did go into politics. I worked in Brussels for a year, and actually for the British government. And then I came back to the UK. I never left the UK. I used to commute London, Brussels on a weekly basis. But then I came back to work to the UK, and I got settled in the city in London, doing law for a big banking firm in the city.
My goodness! So you were legal banking, and that was for about 10 years.
It was indeed, yes, and that was enough to taste the experience.
Yeah.
Yes. And then I decided to give up the city.
Yeah.
And because of obviously the secrecy of my contract, I needed to have a year off the industry. And then I returned to the working environment with a position in SPECSAVERS.
But why did you decide to go into optics after such a very high position? I don't say that you didn't start high in optics, but you really had a very strong international background.
Well, I found out that SPECSAVERS wanted to open barriers within the European market, and that obviously had been a strong field of mine. So I only needed to get some knowledge in optics, and I, really wanted to see what be a director for such a group was like, and that was it really. I focused on it, and I got it.
It's amazing. Let's just go back a little bit. Was it difficult in any of the other jobs that you had, positions that you had in those days? Because I think that was 1996, around about then, that you actually started your main career at that time. For a female to get into those positions?
It was difficult, and unfortunately, it is still very difficult for women, as you probably know, to get such positions. But it doesn't mean that it's impossible.
Yeah, everything is possible if you really want it. There's no problem. But it wasn't easy. And did you have the same privileges that the men had? say in politics, in banking and in Europe?
You never do. You never do. But that is, I suppose, where we need to show how strong we can be and how equal.
Oh, that makes my heart jump for joy, because I know that I've been in a man's world all my life, what with my Scotland Yard background, and really I was the only female at that time in that area. So I had the same sort of, not problems, but you really had to fight for whatever you wanted.
Yes, let's call it a challenge.
It was a challenge, but for you, you had such amazing steps. So when you then decided that Specsavers was something that you would like to go into, the optics business, how did you start? What does a woman have to do, or what do people have to do to become optically, what's the word I'm looking for? Well, to go into optics.
Yeah.
Training.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. Not being an optician myself, obviously I had to get some optical preparation. And for the whole year, I went into, let's say, very compressed course of optics, learned everything about, let's say, the level of optics I needed. Bearing in mind that it was always in my plan to be surrounded by a good team of optometrists. And basically, I started from the very bottom. You know, I obviously, after getting all the preparation that Specsavers very kindly gave me, I started from a reception for a few weeks. Then I tasted the shop floor, you know, the retail industry, if you want to call it that way. I experienced all the customer service and all the dealing with the public. And then obviously went into contact lens department, hair care. Then I filled a position as a supervisor, as a manager. And then I used to do a little bit office work as well to with my director then to take to get a taste of what you know, a director has to do behind the scene in your office from a financial and you know, business point of view. Yeah. So I covered it all really. And then I had to apply to become a director for the group. And there was a very intense preparation at the same time. I remember I had something like a 6-hour interview in those days. and you know, as I said earlier, I got it. And then I did have all this experience in the UK, I have to say. And then I decided to become a partner with the group in Spain. And Marbella was chosen as our destination.
Was that your choice, or was it Specsavers' choice?
In those days, it was a Specsavers. Obviously, I agreed to it together with my husband, because obviously it was a big move after all those many years living in the UK. We had to move home, really. Yeah. So yeah, that's how we arrived to Marbella.
Your life completely changed. I heard you say something about that you had to do ear training as well. I don't know about that side. Can you explain that to me, please?
I did do a little bit more in the, let's say, retail area, because obviously there was an audiologist in the department who ran the department. I was more in charge of the retail and sales part of it. But yeah, I had to do some training about all the little, you know, hearing aids and little bits and bobs. But I have to say, you know, Specsavers is such a great company when it comes down to training. They really help whoever wants to learn and, you know, whoever wants to promote themselves within the company. So it was very easy. Hard work, but very easy. It was a pleasure.
Hard work is always a pleasure when you are successful, and you have become extremely successful. Tell me, how did you choose your team? When you decided, okay, you were coming down here You were going to be opening up in Marbella because this was what was offered to you, and I'm sure it was a joy and a pleasure to be by the sea and still have a wonderful business with an incredible name behind you. And now you are the owner of Specsavers as well, which is a big joy. But now tell me how you choose your team, because I know part of your team and they are so professional.
Thank you. It was very hard work because obviously I was then in the UK and I had to do a lot of research. Obviously, we advertised the positions, and you will never imagine the amount of CVs we received. It was incredible. So everything started with telephone interviews. And then I did a few trips down to the south of Spain to hold the interviews in a hotel that obviously we used to do our meetings at. And I think it took a good 4 months process of elimination. And that's how we got the team we have nowadays. We obviously have new additions because with time we're bigger, we've grown, but the originals are still here with us.
Well, it's, you know, if everybody is happy, they stay. And when you walk through the door of Specsavers, there's always a big smile and can I help you? And language isn't a problem because they speak all the languages. Is that correct?
That's very cool.
They always
Yes.
speak to me in English because although I walk in and I say, hola, buenos dias, or whatever it is, they know that I am English. So their English is perfect. And what other languages do
we speak? Obviously, English, Spanish. We speak Arabic.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I say Arabic and Arab because there are actually two different dialects in my team of these languages. We speak a little bit of French and German.
Okay. Now, let's go back to your optical team. When they do their examinations, what are they looking for? Besides, can you see, can't you see, what glasses do you need?
Yeah, that actually could be the main difference between us and the rest of the optical industry in Spain at the moment. We are focused on visual health, the health of your eye, not only the prescription that you may or not may need, but also the health of the back of your eye. For that, obviously, we do have very, high-end technology. Everything is digital, and as you have experienced with us as well, our main tool is a photography of the back of your eye, in which we can identify different pathologies, and then we can, explain everything to the customer, to the patient. If needed be, we can refer them to an ophthalmologist, or if everything is good, then fantastic. We then go into the shop floor to give them advice with whatever product they may need.
I know that when I've had my eyes tested, and wonderful Carlos, who I love and adore and is so sweet to me, always says to me, now don't worry, it's not going to hurt, but I just want to look at the back of your eye just to make sure that everything is okay for you. So every time that I've come, which is usually once a year, and this has been now for 6 years that I've been coming to Specsavers to be checked, and I have that coming through as, okay, I'm clear, there's nothing I need to worry about. I don't need to go and see anybody further because I have been checked. And I'm very happy to hear that that is one of the situations that you give to everybody. It's not just me.
Everybody gets tested for glaucoma, as I said, cataracts, different pathologies that we can identify through this photograph of the back of the eye.
Yeah,
absolutely everything. In fact, then later on in the testing room, our optometrists show our customers their own eye on our iPads.
Yes.
So
yes.
it's really interesting at the same time. Yeah.
Very interesting to see, because otherwise we don't know what's behind. What's behind. How many people do you now employ?
But I mean,
how many people do you now have working with you?
We are a team of 10 people.
Oh, and when you started, how many?
We started with 4.
Okay, so you've really grown.
Yeah.
How long have you been in Marbella as Specsavers?
This year, we arrived in September 2012, so it'll be 9 years for us in Marbella. Although we didn't open till November the 5th. Okay. Remember.
remember the 5th of November, Guy Fawkes Day.
It is.
Do you have any ladies who are doing the same work that Carlos does? And I keep mentioning him because he's the only one that I've ever seen and actually asked for him.
Correct. Because you asked for him, obviously, is the one that looks after you. But yeah, I've got 2 ladies actually, optometrists, and it's a whole team of 4 optometrists. Here, obviously, we've got 2 testing rooms on our premises. So you will have here the help of 2 optometrists each day, because obviously there is a rota. But yeah, there are 2 ladies more.
And your Specsavers is identical to the Specsavers in the UK?
It is actually a replica, obviously, us being a young store, because obviously in the UK we've been going on for many years more. The furniture is obviously the latest furniture technology, and our frame collection is a little different. There is a small difference with the Specsavers within the continent, within Europe, because we do have access to perhaps a few more models, a few frames that the UK has got access to, or vice versa, but it's pretty much exactly the same.
And now I'm getting to the section which it's a great pity that we've got to talk about, and that is COVID-19. How are you working within the new situation of COVID and the safety regulations?
We're working very hard, I have to say. It hasn't been easy for anybody, of course, but we're making a big effort to try to guarantee a COVID-free environment for our team and our customers. We're working with the door closed by appointment only, which doesn't mean that we don't try to see and help whoever comes to the door without an appointment. We always try to accommodate, and actually 99% of the cases we do see them on the spot. But by having the door closed, we are guaranteeing that everything here is sterilized. So when the customer, obviously the clinical area is very important, because at the end of the day, with this clinical, the distance is very short with the professionals. But we have obviously set up, a new system to protect the professionals and the customers. And then when walking into the shop floor, as I said, every single product, every single frame gets sterilized all the time. So if, let's say, a customer tries 20 frames, the 20 frames will go into sterilizer later on and be put back on the shop floor, totally sterilized for the next customer. We've got obviously a limitation of people who can be in the premises at the time. And we've been working like this for the last year already. So now we got used to it. The worst thing is obviously the mask that we have to wear to protect ourselves, because it is a must to wear an FP2 mask, and it's a lot of hours, and wearing it is very uncomfortable, but we have to do it. It's the only way to get through this. And also because I think our signature has always been our smile. You kind of lose the expression of your face with the mask. Everything becomes more impersonal, a bit more clinical. But it is the situation we have to live at the moment, and it's the only way through.
The eyes still smile. You can still see the eyes smiling, and that shows that. Okay, so somebody has come in, we've had our eyes tested, everything is fine, and now we need a new prescription. Where does that get made?
Everything that's made, let's say, our products come all from the UK. So therefore we get our lenses totally separated from our frames from the UK, and everything then gets put together, glazed, as we say in the industry. Here we do have a lab on the top floor, and that guarantees
I have just lost
a possibility of an aftercare because we had to change something or adjust something, then the product doesn't have to go away for weeks. We can do everything on the spot. So yes, we do have a lab here with a technician and a lab manager.
Okay, I'm just going to tell my viewers that we heard your voice, but you did freeze a little bit, but not to worry because we carried on. But I always like to say with Zoom, you never know when there is going to be a glitch, and we did have a glitch, but not a problem. Tell me something else. When people have changed their frames, what do you, and they don't want them anymore, what do you do with them? Can we bring them back to you? Can you use them again?
Yes.
Can you help
yes.
Can you help the community?
Yes, as I said, we used to collect all the unwanted frames, glasses in general, and then donate them to Lions International. We work very closely with them here in Marbella and in Costa del Sol in general. Although at the moment, we are a little bit on hold because of the situation, because we're not wanting to obviously get anything from the exterior worlds, let's say, that could, carry the virus or whatever it is. So at the moment, we're not collecting anything just to be cautious about it. But yeah, we've always done it. Hundreds and hundreds of unused glasses.
So for people that are watching who've got unused glasses or glasses that they've got in their drawers, keep them until this situation is over, and then bring them into the store because you can use them. You will obviously cleanse them as you have normally been doing, and then at least Lions International along the coast can get help. And what about for children? Have you got a special way of treating children when they come in? Because those big, heavy machines that you put by your eyes, it may just make kids feel, oh, I don't really want to go there. How do you deal with children?
You're right. Well, our eye test, our visual examination is a very different experience for children. The machines are still there. And this is when our fantastic optometrist skills come into place, because they are the ones that deal with the children in such a lovely way, and their parents, obviously, because the minors have to be accompanied together with an adult. And then the whole site is different. There are no all these letters that us adults have to read and so on, but lots of colors and pictures, and it's a totally different experience.
I've always wondered that, because I've only known ever letters, but I didn't know what you did for children. So that's interesting, the different colors, and of course with pictures of animals that they would know. What ages do you start testing children?
We start from the age of 3. And then, we see them on a yearly basis up to the age of 16, 18. and then every 2 years. It depends on the case, really, because obviously some children need to be monitored more often. And we have had a few babies as well, actually, that were born with pathology that they needed glasses immediately. So, but that obviously comes from the ophthalmologist. And the 3, it has to come from a doctor.
Right. That's fascinating, because this is an area that the optical side, I really know nothing about, except I walk in to your store in Marbella, and it's on the main road in Marbella.
It is, yes, in Avenida Ricardo Soriano. Yeah. We are number 12, just next to Massimo Dutti. It's always a good reference.
Oh, okay. You're very close to one of the stores that I love, and that I forget the name, but I always remember the cow that stands outside. Alio.
Alio.
I love
That's
that.
another good
reference. It's a very good point. Yes, always on the pavement. Okay, so you've been around for 9 years in the same...
in Spain.
In
Marbella. The group started in Spain earlier on. It'll be probably now 14, 15 years, I think. Okay. 14, I'd say.
Have you got plans to expand your section of your store?
Well, obviously, there are always plans, but at the moment, we're just waiting to see how the situation gets a little bit better, because everything is very limited at the moment. So let's give it a bit of time so we can control the situation, and then we'll continue growing.
It is seemingly easing off now. It's not as rigid as it was. As a service industry, you were able to stay open during the COVID lockdown time, but your timings were much less, correct?
Correct, yeah, because we are essential. We've been open all the time, apart from a year ago when obviously everybody had to close because everybody had to stay at home. Yes. But other than that, we've always been here. Even when we had to actually close the store, we kept our landlines on all the time, our email addresses, so we could provide that customer service. So we've always been there, either physically in the store or on the other side of the line, with longer timetables, shorter, but always there for our customers.
You, as a very strong woman along this coast, you started right at the very bottom in very varied areas, but always very top business areas. And now you have got your own store. What would you suggest to young women who are starting their careers today? Where do they start?
Whatever they think their passion is, whatever that they feel they want to get to, they need to put all their efforts there and never stop, no matter what, always with, passion and a goodwill. I think you get whatever you want to.
Yeah, it's step by step. But if you
absolutely, so that's everything in life.
Yeah, but if you have got the passion, if a young woman today, or even a young man, want to start learning about optics, where do they start?
It depends what area they want to cover, but obviously university is the main place to go to for the actual career of optometry. So in Spain, here in the south, main universities are Granada and Seville. And then obviously, they can develop their careers like some of our optometrists did here in my store. We've got, for example, Carlos, who did a master's degree in Chicago, in the States. And so, yeah, it's a very big yes. We are a box of secrets.
They're coming out slowly, slowly, slowly.
Nice secret.
A nice secret. So the next time I walk in, I'll try and have an American accent and say, "Hello, Carlos," and we will both laugh. NEREA GALDOS-LITTLE, it's been an absolute pleasure and a joy to speak to a woman who started in different areas, started at the bottom, now gotten to the top, and it's never the top because there's always going to be another way that you are going to improve depending on when the situations worldwide change. But in the meantime, thank you for what you've done for all of us. Thank you for what you do and have done for Lions International with the spare spectacles that people have got. And for viewers who have got spectacles in their drawers, don't throw them away. Keep them until the time that you can give them back to Specsavers, and NEREA and her team can deal with it that way. At least help people who are not as privileged as we are, that are able to go in and just buy them willy-nilly or when they are needed. But in the meantime, I say thank you for being my guest on Strong Women Along the Coast today. Take care, stay safe, and be well. And thank you to all your team. And even though they're wearing masks, they do always smile. Thank you. And
thank you. It's been a pleasure to be with you. Thank you very much.
Well, what a fabulous interview that was with NEREA GALDOS-LITTLE. And it just shows you how she changed her career midstream, although for 10 years that she was in really high-flying business in the UK before she joined Specsavers in the UK, and then, of course, became the owner of Specsavers down here in Marbella along the coast. And just in case I omitted to say, she is not the general manager because Thomas is the general manager. She is the owner, and she has got the most incredible team of people who are working for her, who are qualified and have just changed everything that they have done in their lives as well. And they've just stayed for such a long time. So ladies, if you want to change your job or your position as you are young and or even you don't know what you want to do, have a thought about changing to optics, because you know what? In life, everybody at some stage wears glasses. So there's always a job for you, and you never know. You may end up working with NEREA and her team and Thomas at Specsavers in Marbella, Spain. But in the meantime, until we meet again, take care, stay safe, and thank you for watching.